Hi everyone, so today I'm here to ask and answer one simple question: is Terry Crews natty or not? I'm sure most of you are familiar with Terry Crews. He's a fairly well-known actor. He's been in big action movies like The Expendables, and he's well known for his big muscular physique. And just recently there was some kind of controversy on his Instagram where people were accusing him of not being natural, taking steroids, and Terry actually denied it completely. He said he's never taken steroids ever in his life. He even said he's never even been drunk before. So, according to him, he just avoids all drugs altogether. So I thought that was interesting. And, since Terry is a pretty big muscular guy, I could see why people would think, he might be on gear. So today we're going to look through all the evidence that we can gather to see whether or not Terry is natty. So we're going to look through his film history, how his physique has changed over time, and determine if, what he says is true, if he actually is a lifetime natty. Now, I'm not the first person to do a natty or not on Terry Crews. Last month, Derek from More Plates, More Dates, he did a natty or not on Terry Crews, and his conclusion was that Terry is not natty. He's been on steroids for quite some time. Now, I have a few disagreements with some of the claims that Derek made in that video. So since we're covering the same topic, figured I would just try to respond to some of the claims that Derek made.
If you look at him from the start of his career, 17 to he already had a decent amount of muscle, I guess, for a 17-year-old. Going towards 18, still pretty jacked. Played football and basketball. The first image I can find of his physique where he starts to pack on some mass is 25 years old, it looks like. After that, he's playing football here. Honestly, he still looks like he could be natural in his mid-20s, but when he gets to age 31 in Battle Dome in 1999, he's saucy as hell. And significantly more so than he was in his mid-20s with peaked natural testosterone production. And this guy's been working out, admittedly, throughout this entire time. So obviously it's not like your physique just suddenly explodes after natural training for, many years. So the fact that his physique suddenly jumped from this in 1995 to at 31 years old looking like this, to me, how far do you need to read into that?
Alright, so Derek is claiming that Terry Crews' physique should have peaked in his mid-20s while he was still playing football, because by that point, he had already been weight training for several years, and with natural lifters, the majority of your physique improvements occur within the first few years of training. But Terry was able to pack on something like 15, 20 pounds of muscle after that for his role in Battle Dome. So Derek thinks that there's no way he could have made that sort of transformation naturally. I have a few problems with this theory. For one thing, this idea that Terry's physique would have peaked while he was playing football is kind of ridiculous. He wasn't doing bodybuilding. He wasn't trying to pack on as much muscle as possible during that time. He was playing football, so the majority of his training would have been football focused. So football involves a lot of team practices, drills that improve agility, sprinting, cardio, so anaerobic and aerobic training. And yes, there is strength training components to football training, but it's not the main focus. So no, there's no way Terry Crews' physique would have peaked while he was playing football, since he's not doing bodybuilding training. And what's especially ridiculous about this is there are football players today that get banned for steroid use, and they're not even as big as Terry Crews while he was playing football, in his 20s. So I think that just shows you that just because Terry Crews was playing football for a few years in his mid-20s, that doesn't mean he would have been at his peak and as big and jacked as possible naturally. Obviously, after he quit football and focused on weight training, he could have made very significant physique improvements naturally. And then Derek cherry-picked an especially flattering photo of Terry Crews while he starred on Battle Dome. And what's kind of stupid about this, again, is that Derek later referenced a photo of Terry Crews standing next to Mike O'Hearn where he looked way smaller.
In addition, something that doesn't bode too well for him is the fact that he's standing beside the one and only Mike O'Hearn, it looks like, at 32 years old in the year 2000. So potentially the inception of two of the most prominent fake natties. I don't know. this is just a very interesting duo to accidentally find in my research on this. So while I'm just so happen to be researching if this guy's Natty, Mike O'Hearn's right beside him.
So yeah, Mike O'Hearn did work alongside Terry Crews on the show Battle Dome, and I believe this photo originates from Mike O'Hearn's Twitter where he posted this. But yeah, just because Terry worked with Mike O'Hearn, that doesn't mean he's on steroids. Like, guilt by association is just stupid. And if you look close at this photo, like, this is just ridiculous. There's clearly a difference in these physiques. Terry in the middle, you know, standing next to these two guys, he doesn't even compare. Even if you didn't know that Mike O'Hearn was on steroids and didn't know who he was, you could tell there's a massive difference between these physiques. The guy on the right, huge, gigantic, boulder shoulders, huge arms, way bigger than Terry's. He's obviously enhanced, and Mike O'Hearn on the left, like, again, even if you don't know who Mike is, very clearly enhanced. His chest, shoulders, arms, forearms, his traps and neck, they're just absolutely massive. And again, it's just no comparison to Terry Crews. So it's weird how you would use this photo to say, oh, see, Terry Crews, he's standing next to Mike O'Hearn, obviously on steroids, when you can tell there's a huge difference between these physiques. One looks obviously enhanced, the other, at least in comparison to Mike O'Hearn, looks natural. Now, I will say this, like, anybody could be on steroids. I mean, Cassidy Campbell, a guy who doesn't even look like he lifts, he was on steroids, so anyone can be on gear, but to claim that Terry couldn't have made the sort of physique jump from his football days, I think that's ridiculous, and claiming that he's, you know, guilty by association just because he worked with Mike O'Hearn, I think that's ridiculous, especially considering the physique difference between the two. So I don't think this is a good indication that Terry, you know, hopped on gear here. And if you take a look through Terry Crews' film history, like Battle Dome on television, his movie appearances on Training Day, Idiocracy, Norbit, his commercials with Old Spice, he's pretty much maintained the same physique throughout the years. You know, he might have gained and lost a few pounds here and there, but more or less has maintained the same physique. That would indicate Natty status to me. Like, again, after he quit football, he really focused on just, you know, weight training, building muscle. Then when he made his television appearance on Battle Dome, that's when his physique peaked. He couldn't really gain any more after that. And again, like, he was working alongside dudes like Mike O'Hearn and these other insanely jacked bodybuilders on Battle Dome. If anything, he would have had, you know, some motivation to, like, hop on steroids alongside those guys. But you didn't see him, like, make any huge gains or progress after that. So that would indicate Natty status to me. And I know some people will say, well, wait, you know, he has the same physique, you know, in his late 40s that he had in his 30s. Like, how is that possible? Well, there is the saying, black don't crack, but, you know, in all seriousness, some people just age better than others. You know, I'm sure a guy with, you know, pretty good genetics, with a good work ethic, who claims, like, he doesn't take any drugs, doesn't do alcohol, who stayed really consistent with his diet and training and focuses on his health, I'm sure somebody could maintain a good, lean, muscular physique like that up until old age. Now, I will say this. When he worked on the Expendables movies, Expendables 2 and 3, I did see a very noticeable improvement to his physique, where he looked like he packed on a pretty decent amount of muscle, and he looked bigger than he looked in Battle Dome, bigger and leaner. And there's even training videos around that time when he was filming for the Expendables, where you could see there was actually a pretty significant improvement with his physique. Now, that could be due to a few things. Maybe, you know, the Expendables movies, he really, really took training seriously, worked harder than he ever did, you know, really focused on diet. Maybe those were like his biggest movie roles where he got paid more and he just put more effort into it. Or, you know, maybe he hopped on gear around that point. I did notice, like, right around the time he was filming The Expendables, he did look like he was bigger and leaner than he ever was before, which is kind of strange, considering, you know, his long film history. He's worked in movies and television for a long time. He was younger before, too. You would think that his physique would have peaked when he was younger, but it looks like it actually peaked around when he filmed The Expendables. That's a little strange. So I'd say best case scenario, he has been natty his entire life. The only reason his physique might have peaked around The Expendables is because he just took training more seriously around then. Maybe he dedicated more time to it. Worst case scenario, I'd say chances are he's been natty for the majority of his film career. It's only around the time that he was filming Expendables where, maybe he started messing around with PEDs, maybe hopped on TRT, who knows. So that's just my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comments section down below. Do you think Terry Crews is natty or not? Do you think he's been on gear his entire film career? Do you think maybe it's a recent thing? Tell me what you think. And if you like this video, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon or through my website. I have some funding perks you may find interesting. If you're looking for clothing, then check out the Vegan Gains store. If you're looking for online coaching, then check out Quality Gains. He offers customized meal and training programs. And if you click the link in the description down below, you can get a free ebook. And sub to my wife's OnlyFans. She does full nudes. She's super hot, so check out her OnlyFans if you're into that sort of thing. And as always, keep making those vegan gains.
Beef. What a relief. When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.